Hey Virgo. Before we begin, I just want to take a moment to really thank you for being here, for the trust you place in this space, for the comments you leave, which I read and truly appreciate. Whether you've been here for a long time or you're just finding this channel now, you are welcome here exactly as you are. So take a breath with me and let's begin. That silence you've been staring at, the empty screen, the message that sits on delivered but never flips to read, the call that doesn't come, the day that stretches into another day without their name lighting up your phone. You've been telling yourself a story about that silence, a familiar story, one you've heard before. The story says they don't care. The story says you don't matter. The story says you've been forgotten, replaced, or worse, tolerated. That story is old and it is wrong. Let me stop you right there. That story you're telling yourself, it's not truth. It's a wound speaking. A wound that learned somewhere along the way that silence equals rejection, that distance equals disinterest, that the absence of a message means the absence of feeling. That wound has been wrong before, and it is wrong now. Here's what's actually happening. Not a prediction, an observation of the energy I'm tracking in the space between you and this person. They are not ignoring you. They are overwhelmed. There is a difference. Ignoring is a choice. Overwhelm is a state. And this person is currently living in a state of internal chaos that has nothing to do with you and everything to do with what they cannot yet face. Let me paint you a picture. Inside their chest, there is a storm. Not the dramatic kind you see in movies, the quiet, suffocating kind, the kind that makes it hard to breathe, the kind that turns every decision into a mountain, the kind that makes picking up the phone feel like lifting a car. They want to reach out. They have thought about it. In the shower, in the car, in the middle of the night when the world is quiet and their guard is down. They have typed messages and deleted them. They have stared at your name and felt their throat close. They have wanted to say something, anything, and found themselves paralyzed by the weight of what they cannot articulate. This is not about you. I need you to hear that. This is not about your worth. This is not about whether you matter to them. You do. That's actually the problem. You matter too much. Your presence in their life, real or remembered, carries a charge they are not equipped to handle right now. So they do the only thing they know how to do when they're overwhelmed. They retreat. Not because they want to, because they don't know how to show up without falling apart. Think about the last time you felt truly overwhelmed. Not busy, not stressed, overwhelmed. The kind of overwhelmed where even the simplest task felt impossible, where answering a text felt like climbing a mountain, where the thought of explaining yourself to anyone made you want to disappear. That's where they are. Maybe not exactly, but close. And in that space, silence is not a weapon aimed at you. It's a shield they're holding up to protect the last bits of themselves that still feel functional. Here's what you might not have considered. Their silence is actually a sign of respect. Not the kind that feels good, the kind that comes from knowing they don't have anything clean to offer you right now. They know you deserve more than fragments, more than half-hearted responses, more than the version of them that is currently drowning. So they stay quiet, not because they don't care, because they care enough not to show up empty-handed. That's not ignoring. That's a twisted form of love. The kind that says, I won't give you scraps, even if it means giving you nothing at all. You might be thinking, but they could just tell me that. They could just say they're struggling. Could they, though? Have you always been able to say that when you were in the thick of it? Have you always had the words for your own overwhelm? Or have you, too, gone silent when the pressure was too much, hoping people would understand without you having to explain something you couldn't even explain to yourself? Be honest. You've been there. We all have. And the grace you would have wanted in that moment is the same grace they need from you now. This is where the energy gets interesting, because beneath their silence, something else is happening, something they might not even be fully aware of. They are processing, not ignoring, processing. Their mind is working through layers of feeling, fear, and confusion. They are trying to figure out what they actually want, what they're actually capable of, what they can actually offer. That process is invisible. It doesn't come with status updates. It doesn't send read receipts. It happens in the quiet, in the dark, in the spaces between their daily obligations. And it takes time. More time than you'd like. More time than they'd like. But time is not the enemy. Clarity is the goal. And clarity cannot be rushed. Let me tell you what is not happening. They are not laughing at you. They are not sitting around with other people making you the punchline of a joke. They are not indifferent to your existence. That's the story your wound tells you because it's trying to protect you from hoping. But that story is not based in the reality of this situation. The reality is much messier, much more human, and much more hopeful than your wound wants you to believe. They think about you more than you know, in moments you wouldn't expect. A song comes on that reminds them of you. A place they pass makes them think of a conversation you had. A random Tuesday afternoon, and your name floats through their mind unbidden. These moments are real. They happen. And in those moments, they feel the weight of their own silence. They feel the distance they've created, and they don't know how to bridge it. Not because they don't want to, because they're scared. Scared of what you might say, scared of what they might feel, scared of opening a door they're not sure they can walk through. So they stay put. And you stay confused, and the silence stretches between you like a canyon that neither of you knows how to cross. But here's what you need to understand. A canyon is not a wall. It can be crossed. It just takes the right conditions, the right timing, the right willingness on both sides. Right now, they are not willing. Not because they don't love you, because they don't love themselves enough to show up whole. That's not your fault. It's not even their fault. It's just where they are. You have a choice in this moment. You can keep telling yourself the old story, the one where their silence proves your worthlessness, the one where you're being punished for caring too much or not being enough. That story will keep you stuck. It will keep you checking your phone. It will keep you cycling through the same thoughts, the same feelings, the same ache. Or you can choose a different story, a truer story. The story where their silence is about them, not you. Where their distance is a reflection of their own internal weather, not your value. Where the love you feel is real, and their inability to meet it right now is not a verdict on whether you deserve to be loved. I know which story is harder to believe. The old one is familiar. It's been told to you before, by people who left, by moments that hurt. by a world that taught you that your worth is measured by how much attention you receive. That story is a trap. It will keep you small. It will keep you waiting. It will keep you pouring your energy into trying to decode the silence of someone who is not even sure how to decode themselves. The truer story asks you to do something harder. It asks you to trust, not trust that they will eventually reach out. Trust that you will be okay whether they do or not. Trust that your worth is not hanging on their next move. Trust that the silence is not a message about you. Trust that you can hold your own hand while they figure out how to hold theirs. That's the real work. Not waiting, not decoding, not trying to read minds. Anchoring yourself so deeply in your own value that their silence becomes simply their silence. Not a verdict, not a rejection, just a fact. A fact about where they are, not a fact about who you are. This is where the transformation happens. When you stop needing their response to feel secure. When you stop checking the phone. When you stop replaying every interaction, looking for clues. When you let the silence be what it is. Silence. Not a code to crack. Not a puzzle to solve. Just space. Space that you can fill with your own breath, your own life, your own forward motion. Does this resonate with what you've been feeling? That exhausting loop of checking, wondering, interpreting, hoping. Let me know in the comments if you've been stuck in that loop. Sometimes naming it is the first step out. Because here's the truth, they might never say out loud. They are not ignoring you. They are hiding from themselves, from their own feelings, from the enormity of what they feel when they think of you. Hiding is not ignoring. Hiding is fear dressed up in distance. And fear, as you know, is not a permanent state. It shifts, it softens, it passes. Not always on the timeline you want, but eventually you cannot force someone to stop hiding. You cannot pull them out of their cave by yelling into the darkness. The only thing you can do is stand at the entrance, visible, steady, and live your life. Let them see from a distance that you are not waiting with clenched fists, that you are not angry, that you are not desperate, that you are simply there, living, breathing, being okay whether they come out or not. That is the most magnetic thing you can do. Not because you're trying to be magnetic, because you've stopped trying to control the outcome. And that freedom is attractive. So put the phone down. Not forever. Just for now. Breathe. The silence is not your enemy. It's a teacher. It's teaching you to find your ground when the ground feels shaky. It's teaching you that you can survive not knowing. It's teaching you that your peace is not dependent on their next message. Those are hard lessons, but they are worth learning, and you are learning them, whether it feels like it or not. I don't sell futures. I build architects. No predictions, just the raw truth for the tough ones. Stay magic. Stay in the now.